allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend to the meetings of public bodies in which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Fort Lee Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on January 11th, 2024, and posted on the district website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet newspapers, The Record and the Star Ledger, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcasted on local TV and online at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines meeting as any gathering, whether corporal or by means of communication equipment, which is attended by or open to all of the members of a public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as a unit upon the specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Byard Kang. Here. Mrs. Colback. Here. Mrs. Curry. Here. Mr. Knight. Mrs. Cote. Here. Mr. Lopez.
Here.
Ms. Morel. Here. Mr. Rubino.
Here.
Mrs. Richter.
Here. The board will be convening to executive session to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. The board will reconvene into public session at approximately 7:30 p.m. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Motion Morel, second Curry, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are in executive session.
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Fort Lee Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on January 11th, 2024, and posted on the district's website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet newspaper, The Record and the Star Ledger, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcasted on local TV and online at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines meeting as any gathering, whether corporal or by means of communication equipment, which is attended by or open to all of the members of a public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as a unit upon the specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Byard Kang.
Present.
Mrs. Colback. Here. Ms. Curry. Here. Mr. Knight.
Here.
Mrs. Cote.
Present.
Mr. Lopez.
Here.
Ms. Morel.
Here.
Mr. Rubino.
Here.
Mrs. Richter.
Here. The board convened executive session at 6:30 p.m. to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. Dr. Kravitz, will you begin by sharing the superintendent's report?
Yes, thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. I would actually like to start by recognizing some students and staff who we will have here tonight, and some will be honored tomorrow, working with our local VFW. The Patriots Pen Award is an annual event where both teachers and students get recognized for their patriotism. This year we have several accomplished individuals, and we have some students, but I would also like to mention our teachers. We have Joe Berlingo, who's a District 2 winner, Suzanne L. Ketching, a District 2 winner, and Christine DeLuca from school number 4, who's a state winner for the Patriots Pen. That's an absolute honor here. But even more importantly, our students are here. We have Brian Bruca, Maxim Kuryenko, Caleb Bune, and Austin Chen, Voice of Democracy. So they might be here, some of them. They are. Would like to come up and introduce Tony Leone and former Chief Tom Rapoli, also representing the VFW. Come on.
Let me say it's a great honor to have Fort Lee High School participate in the Patriots Pen, the Voice of Democracy, and the Teacher of the Year. And it's just a great honor that we have these people who did a great job with these kids. The Teacher of the Year, all three of our teachers, elementary, Christine DeLuca, Joe Beningo in the middle school, and Suzanne Eckerson in the high school, all were state winners and all went to the state final judging. And Christine DeLuca ended up as the state winner in the elementary, and I think that's a great privilege.
And we're very happy. Working with the VFW is just a great group of people. If you have some time, stop by. They're just wonderful group of people to talk about everything. So they have events throughout the year. If you're out in the community, always stop by. I'm sorry, I'm extending your.
And let me just say, tomorrow we're giving out the awards for Patriots Pen, Voice of Democracy. Anybody here is welcome to come. It's at 10:30 at VFW 250 Main Street.
I sent it out to.
Thank you very much.
So if we could have those students come up, we'll take a picture if any of them are here. They don't come up after. Good job. Okay. In addition, in our schools, we have many celebrating Black History Month and Lunar New Year. We would like to remind everyone that this Saturday from 2 to 5 in this same venue, KPAC will be having their annual Lunar New Year celebration from 2 to 5, so we invite everyone as well. We have two students from the high school, Abigail and Tessa, are here to speak about what's happening in our high school.
Good evening, my name is Tessa Lee. I'm a senior at Fort Lee High School and I'm also the student body co-president.
Hello, I am Abigail Farron. I'm the co-vice president of the student council. The Fort Lee High School Honors Choir will celebrate Black History Month with the music at the presentation on February 22nd, which starts period 2.
In January, 7 students from the Fort Lee High School Chorus entered an auditions for a chance to perform at a concert with the Region 1 Choir. Students must be enrolled in 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grades of the sponsoring school, which must be located within Bergen, Hudson, Essex, Morris, Passaic, Sussex, or Warren counties of New Jersey. Students must be approved to audition by their high school director. The 7 students' names are Lois Kwok of 11th grade, Diane Suh of 9th grade, Woo Sung Lee from 12th grade, Gabriel Talapian from 12th grade, Irene Choi from 9th grade, Rachel Liao from 10th grade, and Deborah Ju of 10th grade. All 7 candidates won a spot in the Region 1 Choir. Lois Kwok was in the top 10 and Gabriel Talapian finished number 2 by 1, missing the best score for his voice part by a mere 1 point.
Fort Lee High School students Annabella Kwan, Alice Bake, Leo Esmali, Janice Lee, Gabrielle Flowers have submitted work to the Peters Valley High School exhibition. The gallery show will be on view from January 20th to February 25th at the Peters Valley Gallery, Layton, New Jersey.
On Sunday, January 14th, 2024, members of the Fort Lee High School Honors Choir will perform with the Bergen County Choir, having been selected after a rigorous audition process this past fall. The students are Lois Kwok, who scored number 1 alto in Bergen County, Diane Suh, Sadhai Nunez, Gabriel Talapian, who is top 10 in the county, Andrew Lee, Yui Ota, and Karen Clark. Congratulations to all of our county vocal students. You make Fort Lee proud.
Two members of our orchestra auditioned and were accepted into the Region 1 Orchestra. They are Minso Kim, Ashley Gill. Over 500 students auditioned for this very competitive program.
Sophomore Willie Lee was named to the 2024 New Jersey All-State Symphonic Band following auditions held on January 20th.
Members of the Fort Lee High School Honors Wind Ensemble have been selected to perform with the New Jersey Youth Symphony. They are trumpet player Sam Wasserman and French hornist Fiona Kwan, Jaden Lowe, and Eric Villafani.
In January, our girls varsity basketball team swept rival Cliffside Park 50-46 and 55-44. And our boys had also had a big win this past week versus Cliffside Park, winning 58-57 in overtime.
The school counseling department is hosting a virtual parent university session on Tuesday, February 13th, presented by Family Support Organization of Bergen County. Please contact your child's school counselor directly if you have any questions on how to register for this presentation.
Today begins National School Counselor Week. Our school counselors work with all members of our school communities to help students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents. A huge thank you to all of our school counselors. We appreciate your support and are lucky to have you. Thank you.
We had 5 cases of HIVs reported. 1 was founded, 4 were unfounded. And the student safety data system that requires us to update how many incidents we have every year. From this quarter, actually, I should say, September 1st to December 31st of 2023, district-wide, there were 24 incidents. There were 9 HIV alleges, there were 9 HIV trainings, and 6 HIV programs. That is what's required by law for us to recite in this meeting. For our announcements, thank you. Oh, of course, and now we have an audit report from Steve Wilcox, our auditor for the district. We got the audit, county.
I saw that in mind. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Tonight, you have before you the audit report. Good evening. Again. Tonight, you have before you the audit report of the Fort Lee Board of Education for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023. I'm happy to report that we have issued unqualified opinion, a clean opinion on the financial statements for the year that ended. There also, you received the management report relative to the audit. There's a number of findings in that report, which you have a corrective action plan presented to you tonight as well by the business administrator, the business office. I will tell you that while there are a number of findings, none of them individually or collectively are material in terms of impact on the financial statements. It should be noted that we're required to do both the financial audit and a compliance audit as promulgated by the State Department of Education annually. The majority of the findings are compliance oriented as opposed to financial statement oriented, and that there is no impact with those findings on the financial position of the board. And with that, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions the board members might have.
Seems self-explanatory.
It was a good one. I'd just like to thank Dina and Dr. Kravitz as well for all their help during the course of the audit. Nobody really likes to have auditors in their office. Just it's human nature. But I'd like to thank them and their staffs for all the help they gave us during the course that we were able to do our job and do efficiently and get it out. Thank you.
Thank you.
No one has questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
All right, moving on. Do we have committee reports? We have a few. Okay, Ms. Perry, I'll start with you.
Yes, thank you, good evening. The Finance Committee met last week on January 31st. The focus was really around the audit and corrective action plan, which Mr. Wilcox just communicated, so I don't need to get into the details, but thank you for your efforts. And the committee will also be reconvening the second week in February, I believe on the 13th, or I'm sorry, at the end of February to discuss the proposed budget and timeline. We owe the budget to the state, I believe, sometime in March, but we don't have a date yet. So we will be reconvening to discuss that. And then just lastly, on the negotiations committee, we met on February 1st to review current contracts and contracts that are expiring. We have a subsequent meeting to be held on February 13th to further discuss those initiatives and contracts. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. The curriculum committee met on last Wednesday, and we discussed two items. One is on the agenda tonight, the program of studies. Very excited to report that Diane and her team have added a number of exciting classes and course offering to high school students, including fashion, digital, building maintenance, and some of the exciting new courses. These courses are developed by teachers, and all of us know when we take classes from a teacher who's excited about a subject, it makes all of you want to learn, all of us want to learn. So I'm very excited that these new ideas are coming from the teachers, and they're bringing that to our students. Also want to highlight that we have some key curriculum development coming down the pipeline, new standards for DLA and for math have been released and are in the works. The curriculum are being worked on, and hopefully in the next year and a half and two, we'll have a newer, brighter, and stronger, especially in the area of math, as many parents have came to the meeting and expressed that they are looking for more support in math, in the math curriculum for students. Math and language art are critical to every aspect of learning, so parents, please pay close attention to these developments so that your voice and your input can be taken into consideration over this period. And our next meeting we'll have a standing meeting. Our next meeting will be at the end of the month. We'll have more updates at that point. We also, the equity committee also met last Thursday on February 1st. We focused on the most recent equity audit report that was published in over the pandemic, and Diane briefed us in 3 areas of that study. We focused mostly on behavioral and discipline policies, and also special education. Casey shared with us as a board member and also as a parent for special ed student, the needs of special ed family. And so we hope to continue to have dialogues and understanding on how we can strengthen in those areas. We also have a standing meeting in set up, so we'll come back over the next year with more ideas and actions.
Everybody hear me? Can you hear me now?
So the first one is for, on Wednesday, January 31st, we had a strategic planning meeting. And we talked about the long-range goals for the district. However, we felt that it would be better first if the board, being that we're having our meeting with our NJSBA rep, Matt Lee, that we do our board goals first and our mission statement, and then we're gonna have a meeting based on what we think the goals should be, that then the district can then come up with a strategic plan. I had mentioned instead of a 5-year plan, which sometimes becomes a little long and not always fulfilled, that we do more of a 3-year plan so that it's more feasible that it can occur. So once we do our meeting, then we're gonna have another strategic planning and move from there. And then on February 1st, we had the ad hoc for RFPs, request for proposals. There are several categories that we're looking at. One of them definitely has to be done, and that's for food service, because it expires at the end of this year. So we have to determine if what we're gonna do with that. Whether we're staying, whether we're looking at other ones, other vendors, things of that nature. And there are several other vendors that we were looking at, also auditors, banking, attorneys. And we have a meeting set up for that already for the 13th.
So the legal committee met immediately before our private session, and a full, obviously, the status and strategy decisions relating to threatened and pending litigations are highly confidential, so the full board got a briefing during private session as to what took place during the committee meeting. That's it.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right, do board members have questions or comments on tonight's agenda or any other topic?
For three.
Just talking to the microphone.
For 3B, I'm going to need to make a motion to amend that. I forgot to call our board secretary to add my name.
For the county meeting?
Yes,
Mark?
yes.
So what are we doing for you, adding your name?
To 3B.
I actually have something real quick on, give me 1 second, on CUR. Hold on 1 second. Get the number of it. It is 4P, actually. I'd just like to really quickly, I see that Rachel Ventrella is resigning, and I just want to thank her for her service to the district. She's been an absolute treasure to the district and to the community. She has done our pumpkin picking. She just is an incredible educator, and I'm really sorry that we're going to lose her. That's it.
So ditto on Rachel Ventrella, and also we have two very long-standing teachers that have done so much for our district. I mean, everyone on here who's resigning or retiring is important, but I do want to call out Mr. Picone and Mr. Welty. One I think was close to, I think it's Mr. Welty, 50 years with the district, and he both put us on the map in their respective areas of expertise, and just want to thank them for their dedication and touching so many students.
Just want to echo that, Mr. Walty, I had you when I was a student in the high school. I thank you for everything you have done for my family. My nephew, you were a teacher of his. So thank you so much for everything you've done for my family and the industry.
He was my wrestling coach in 1983. Wonderful.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on the agenda?
So I just want to echo for Mr. Cohn and Mr. Welty. Both my sons had both of them, and they enjoyed working with both of these professionals, and these two men loved the kids beyond love. They had a hard shell with them, but the kids adored them, absolutely adored them. And yes, Michael was able to bring Winter Guard, which Mr. Welty just allowed him to just run with it, and now it's part of the program. And these two men are just there. They really are irreplaceable.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question about 3CUR with the program studies. Are there any changes on that from what it has been? What are the changes? Is this what it's always been, or could we highlight what exactly the changes are for the public?
Sure, I can give an explanation. So
Thank
the major changes involve course additions, and those courses are fashion digital, dystopian literature, history of modern education honors, which we're happy to report is the third course in our teaching academy. So now our teaching academy has 3 consecutive courses, and that academy is growing. We're really proud of it. Directing, stage management, and playwriting. It was offered last year, but it did not run, so we're hoping for it to run this year. Building maintenance, it was offered this year, it just didn't make it into our program of studies. However, we will be adding a second course to the Academy of Trades. So building maintenance and electronics and computer technology, that is the new course for our Academy of Trades. And as for the courses that we are deleting, we are removing courses because through research we found out that these particular courses haven't run for 3 years due to a lack of interest with our students. So the first one is music theory, the second one is AP music theory, the third one is IB Music 1, myth, fantasy, and science fiction, writing for Ls or English language learners. We don't need a course like that anymore. The art of writing, which was an internal district decision to make that course a graduation requirement. We are removing that course, and for the class of 2027 and beyond, we're also not requiring it for a graduation course. It's over and above what the Department of Education requires, and it gets in the way of students being able to take additional electives that year, sophomore year. So we are just finding that it's just not allowing students to explore their interests sooner rather than later in their high school career. So those are the courses that we are removing.
Thank you, that makes it very clear for the public. With the art of writing, the changes that are being made, you mentioned that it will start in 2027 not being the requirement.
Correct.
So it won't affect the students that are already
Correct.
starting it. So that's something that I think that also the public would like to know. If I have a question about something else that is not on the agenda, do I wait until later or do I ask it now? Now? Okay. So I have some concern with the food service. I have concern that students who have not ordered lunches the night before, especially 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, kindergarten through 4th graders, are receiving a bowl of cereal It sounds nice. I mean, people got used to having free food during COVID. That was, readily available. And now the students are required to order food. Their parents are required to order the food online at the night before. There's a surcharge at each time that you do it. So if you do it nightly, you're going to get a surcharge nightly. I believe you can correct me when I'm finished if I'm wrong. Or if you do it all week, you only be charged once. But if I ask any of us sitting here, what are we going to eat even tonight when we get home? We may say we don't know for sure. So I think we're putting a lot of pressure on the students to make decisions. And it's also, it's a little embarrassing for those students whose parents didn't order the night before when they get up to the front of the line, or they get handed a bowl of sugar cereal with a milk. It's just sugar on top of sugar. And in order for us to learn properly or even operate properly, we need to have proper nutrition. I don't know where Obama is at the moment, but I don't think she'd be happy with it. That's another thing, but I'm wondering why we have made the change, and why are the students getting cereal? Their parents are being charged the same amount of money as if they were getting real food. Cereal is not real food. Sorry, so that's the question I have, and I don't know. I know other districts are doing it, it's the thing, but I think it takes away from the personalization. It's part of like learning personal skills. Like the child sits down and you say like, oh, Bobby Joe's eating, he's gonna get chicken nuggets. Oh, I think I wanna get chicken nuggets too. Oh, you're gonna get pizza today? I'm gonna get pizza today. It's like a little bit of, it's making things, I feel there's a couple things wrong with it, but maybe you could explain it to me and maybe the public, because this is what I'm hearing from the elementary schools. My friends whose children go there, they felt very bad to get the bowl of cereal, and the parents felt, I mean, I know that they've probably reached out to the board, and I've reached out, so I'm reaching out again. I'm done, yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So first of all, they're allowed to order up until midnight the night before. They can put money on account, so you don't get charged every time that you order a meal. So it's almost like if you put money in your account, let's say you have $100 in your account. The one time that you put the $100 in your account, if you do it through like a debit card or like an ACH, there's a one-time fee of like $1.75. And if you were going to say put the money in your account through a credit card, then you get charged. I think it's based on how much you decide to use the credit card. It's like $25, maybe it's a 1% fee. If it's over $50, it might be a 3% fee, but you have the money on your account. You don't get charged every time you place the meal order unless they're paying like every time they don't put money in the account. Anyone who's free or reduced does not get charged anything. So if you are a free and reduced parent, you do not get charged for ordering the food on the pay for it system. Also, as far as the cereal, the reason why we have the extra cereal is because people did not order lunches and did not pay for them, or they're not free and reduced. So a parent can actually fill out a free and reduced lunch application all year long. So if someone's saying that they didn't qualify, if their living situation has changed or their work situation has changed, they can fill out a new application at any point in time. Also, the amount of applications this year was less than last year. So we had less people apply for free and reduced, so I don't know if they're determining on their own if they're free and reduced, because the federal guidelines are, say, at a certain level, but then the state has expanded it. So unless they fill out the application, that's the only way we can know for sure. Sometimes they fill out the application and something may be denied, but what happens is that the girl from my office will put in the letter why they were denied so that they can actually contact her, but people haven't contacted her either. And also when I spoke to Eric with the food service, we are actually at the same point we were before we started the online ordering. So we have the same number of parents ordering now than we did before. So I don't know if the parents, didn't know that they had to pre-order. We sent the letter out in 7 different languages so that we could make sure we hit
everyone in the community so they understood how to set up the account. I know people were concerned with the fee, so we're in the process of creating a new letter to see if we can let people pay by check, but we're first trying to formulate the letter. If someone wants to put money in their account with a check, they're gonna have to wait for the check to clear, because every single month when we do the reconciliation for the food services account, which is not just for the elementary schools, it also has for the parents, because in the IS and the high school and the middle school, parents have to put money on account. There are bounce checks every single month. So then I have to make sure before the money is available. So if someone was going to want to pay by a check to put money in the account, that's fine. The money wouldn't be available that day. They would still have to have like a waiting period, but the parents can order up until midnight the night before for their child. So I'm just not exactly sure where it is, and if they're feeling that they got denied, they can actually call the office, because they can fill out the application again if their circumstances has changed.
Okay, I don't think that, thank you for the information, but my question was, why are these children getting cereal and being charged?
They're not being charged if they get the cereal lunch, that's not.
Is that 100% for sure?
As far as I understand, I can double check it with
Yes,
everything.
please double check that with me, because that was my understanding, that the children were being charged the same amount of money as if because they got food, because they got a lunch, so because on their account, they would be charged the same amount as they would, as if they were getting food. Obviously, if someone doesn't have anything to eat, something is better than nothing, but it would be upsetting to know that it puts a lot of pressure. It's just, it takes some getting used to, and we do have to be patient. They are young students, and the parents of young students are very busy, and you don't have the children to help you as you do as they get older. So with that, I felt very sad. I felt very sad to think that the child is having the cereal for lunch while the other child is sitting next to them having something that is yummy and lunch-like, and the parents saying that they're getting charged the same amount. It had nothing to do with free and reduced. I'm a big advocate for free and reduced lunch, people filling out the form, and maybe that's but that was my concern, so.
One more thing I can add to it, in the elementary schools, it's a satellite program, so it's not the same as it's IS, the middle school or the high school.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
So that whole idea of the pre-ordering is so that the cafeteria knows how much of those lunches to bring over. So when the parent orders online, and they say, okay, I want my child to get chicken nuggets, and the cafeteria is able to run the report in the morning, and they know, okay, for school number 1, I need to bring over 300 chicken nuggets. If the parent doesn't order, there's no way for the cafeteria to know that. So it's making sure the people who are ordering are getting what they ordered. And then we just have the cereal lunches in case someone doesn't come with a lunch and the parent didn't order from them. So there's still something there for the child to eat. But I really encourage all the parents to please set up an account. And like I said, to fill out the application for free and reduced to see if they qualify. And a letter will be forthcoming probably within the week. We first have to finish composing it, and then I want Dr. Kravitz to review it, and then we want to get it translated to one of the languages so that the parents can pay with a check, so you can avoid the fee completely. So we are trying to work, and as we go through it, kind of to get all the kinks out, but if the parents do order, they should get whatever they ordered for their child. But again, they have to pay for it or fill out the application.
And can we just know, as for the public, can we know why did we make that change? Why did we take away that ability for the student to be able to choose?
You still had students who were putting their hands up in the morning to order lunch, and their parents didn't order lunches for them. So what would happen is that even notices would go home to parents to say that they had an outstanding meal balance, and then the parents would say, I never ordered lunch for my child. So what would happen is a lot of times in the morning, the teacher might say, if I'm not incorrect, who's getting lunch today, and the kids would raise their hand. Now, some parents, I guess, would actually order it. This is kind of what I'm hearing, because I wasn't here, but that's how I understand it was going, and it just doesn't make sense. If you're a satellite program, how is the cafeteria supposed to know how many chicken nugget lunches to bring over? It just makes more sense that you don't have waste, but also the parents, it's not
all for free. So if you don't qualify for free and reduced, then the meals have to get paid for. We also have a problem with allergies. So if a parent doesn't want their child getting the food and they come to school with a lunchbox, but all their friends are raising their hands and they say, yes, I want it, and say the parent doesn't want them to eat that, but how is the school going to know? Right, so then it puts the power in the parents' hands too, because they're the ones ordering for their kids, so you can make sure.
I appreciate that parent power, because there's certain places that parents don't have power in the school district. So if we're giving parents power for the food that they're eating, parents should have power in all of the other aspects that are concerning the school, as far as knowing what their students are learning, knowing what their students are doing, knowing what conversations the students are having with counselors and so forth and so on.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment on that real quick. Yeah, I just want to comment, we're hearing a lot about the free and that the low income people are going to get free lunches or get reduced price lunches. But I think it's also very important for us to remember, and I've had some really good conversations with some people on the board, including our president and Paula. There's kids that fall in between. They don't quite qualify for free or reduced lunch. Because they make a little bit too much for that. And I just have a problem with us charging them fees. I went to school, it was a long time ago. It was forget about it, like 30 years ago. We didn't even have computers, but no kids went without food because there wasn't any computer tracking system. We got to do better. Convenience is good and we want to make life easier for our administrators, but not even if one child has to go hungry as a result of it, I'm not okay with it. And if we're going to nickel and dime parents, I'm also not okay with, making sure that the check clears and all this other stuff. I mean, we're a huge we're a big school district compared to someone to a private person. And if someone has to owe us $1.75 for a milk, I think it's better to take that hit than for the kid to go without lunch. That's just my personal opinion. Thanks.
We allow every child to have lunch. That's why we have the extra cereal bags there. It's that we're not feeding the child. It's just that they're not getting that preferred meal, like if they wanted the chicken nugget. So that's why the lunch program does bring the extra cereal bags over there in case someone comes in and didn't order, that they are getting fed. As far as feeding everybody, that you don't charge them, that's not my decision.
So just to be clear, I never suggested, just to be clear, I know it's funny, but I actually never suggested that we give free lunch to everybody. I'm really concerned, and I don't find it humorous, actually. I'm really concerned about the people that are struggling to raise families in this area. So I just hope that we can take it seriously and that maybe we can come up with a solution rather than laughing about it. Thanks.
Hold on, Doug's been trying to speak, sorry.
Mine was more of a procedural question. The midnight cutoff, is there any way to extend that? Does that put a burden on the food administration?
The cafeteria has to be able the next morning to know what they have to prepare, so you can't keep cutting it so close to the limit. They only have so much time too, with all the lunches, because remember, it's a satellite program, so the lunches are coming from, say, up at the middle school, and at the same time, they still have to prepare lunches for the kids up here. So they have to get all the lunches out to the 4 elementary schools. So if they had their own cafeterias, then it would be a completely different situation. But when you're in a satellite program and the lunches have to be made up here and shipped out, it's a little different. At the same time, they still have to get the lunches prepared for the kids here.
I get that. I just, I've heard a lot of the same concerns from parents, and I think that, part of it, if I can just add to it, is the, putting that burden on the parent to, have that hard stop at midnight. Meanwhile, next morning, getting the child ready, is sometimes when you think about, oh my God, what is my child going to eat today? So if there is any way to extend it to a later time, I think would be helpful.
It is 7 or 8 in the morning. I know when I get up, I forgot last night. I still have that.
I can check with the food service program to see if that's even an option.
It's just a matter of sweeping the data from 7 o'clock, and no one is at work anyway at 7.
I'll check with the food service program.
Can they choose on a weekly basis? I know that if I can do it for the whole week, I won't forget. Can they do that now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's also even with the pay schools
function, they even have like a low balance, so even if parents were saying, okay, I want to put a whole bunch of money in my account, and then they can have alerts so that they know at a certain point in time when their balance goes down to $25, oh, you know what, I want to replenish it, so you can make sure like it never goes below a certain point, and I think that's possible right now with the IS in the middle and the high school, so doing at the elementary school is really not that different from what already exists in the IS, the middle and the high school as far as having money on account. You know, it's just the ordering, because at the IS middle and high school, they have cafeterias where the food is made daily for them. They don't have to have it shipped in.
And if a parent forgets to choose a meal for their child, the child only gets the option of a cereal box, is that true?
Yeah, that's what we just bring up extras like a cereal. I don't know if it's a cereal box or a cereal bar. I can ask Eric exactly what it's composed of. The bar?
I hope it's more than just a bar.
If it's a bar, at least there's some protein in it. If it's a bowl of cereal, there's not a whole lot of protein in it. I'm just concerned about the nutrition balance. You know, I get what we're trying to do, which is stay ahead. I know that when my kids were in school 3, they had PB&J, which they weren't happy about, but at least I know it's a
Some of the
PB&J.
schools are not free
I
because of
think that the
allergies.
problems with the allergies, yeah. Again, it goes back to, if a parent doesn't order for their child, it's a little harder because remember, there's different allergies. So at least when the parent is ordering, they know what their child can eat. But when a parent doesn't order for a child, and if you were to try to give something like peanut butter, what if the child had an allergy to that? Or what if the child had like a cheese allergy? You know, it's a little bit harder because if the parent's not ordering, how is the food service to know whether or not the child's allergic? And some kids, they just, oh, I want what my friend's eating, where the parent says, well, no, they can't have
No,
that.
I get it, just the box of the cereal is,
Paula, you've been saying.
So I have a question, this transition that we did to the firm with the fees and everything, was this driven because at the end of each year, those unpaid lunch amounts were getting significant, or?
They've been increasing.
So
the
what
unpaid-
order of magnitude, are we talking 15,000, 60,000, like
right now, I think we're about 80,000, and it's been increasing.
80,000, but is that cumulative, or it's 80, it can't be, or is it 80,000 from September when we
That's
started school?
cumulative over the past couple of years. So at first, I think pre-COVID, we were about 15,000, and then I think the year after that, I think we got to like 60, and I think now we're about 70 or 80,000, and it's going up there, like the unpaid lunch balances. And that's the whole district, K-12.
And what efforts did we make to try to collect it?
Well, we start sending out like the letters, which is why I know some parents were questioning. We just sent out the policy, and I wanted to do it in all 7, I think we sent it out in 7 languages to say, this is gonna be our procedure, so when we start sending out the past due lunch notices. And that's when I said some parents, when they've gotten a lunch notice, they go, I never ordered lunch for my kid. Why do I have this balance? And that's part of, I think, it wasn't for the middle school or the high school or the IIS, it was the elementary school parents saying, well, I never ordered lunch for my child. And then I'm going, okay, well then, I guess your kid must have been raising their hand every morning in class to say, I want a lunch. So part of like the pre-ordering system for the elementary school is to, number one, eliminate that so the parents know what their kids are having for lunch. Also, that in order to get the meal, there has to be, if you're not free or reduced, you have to have the money on the account in order for the meal, to go through. So that then helps to eliminate any of the unpaid lunch balances, and then the following part would be, I know we've had some people that they call up and we say, maybe we can work out a payment plan with you. So we do try to work with everybody to see, maybe we can do some kind of payment plan, how can we help you to get this lunch balance down. So we do it on a case-by-case basis, to see what we can do for them, but the first part was getting the policy out to everybody because our policy is very clear. But the first step is you get the first letter and then the second letter, and then what can happen if you are not responsive to the second letter. And so I didn't want to do anything without making sure everybody is fully aware of what the policies, say. And I want to be able to, have those conversations with the parents and say, okay, can we work out a payment plan with you? Is there something that you need to talk to us about? Let's see what we can do about that.
Just one last thing. So the fee that we collect, there's a company that we retain that's.
We don't get the fee.
I understand we don't get the fee. So there's some company that we retain that.
Pay schools.
And is it just like they set up something online for us and that is what entitles them to the fee?
I would think so. I guess it has to do like their processing fee. That's kind of how a piece, I guess, how you pay for it. And it's been like that though for a while. So I think even with the IS and the middles, like if you were putting it on, those fees were in existence. It's just that the elementary school wasn't pre-ordering, so they didn't know about it. So I think it's been there for quite some time. And I think it's more like, even now, if you go out to like a restaurant, you know, if you pay with a credit card, they have a different fee as opposed to paying with cash. So I'm sure it all has to do with the credit cards processing fees that they probably get charged, you know, for that.
So, just so that you know, since our children were in elementary school, that fee has been attached, because every time I would have to put money in, there would be a fee of $1.75 for the money that I was using for the credit card or for the debit card. So it's been there since my oldest one has been in school.
I do have one other.
And it's a one-time
I'm sorry,
charge.
yes.
It's a one-time charge.
I think I got my answer from some of the questions that Amy had, but just to make sure I understand. So if you have a parent who has an account, for whatever reason, they didn't, pre-order for their child yesterday for today, then that child has cereal.
Unless the parent sends them with their own lunch, right, because the parent didn't order, so how would the cafeteria?
I understand.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, because, parents run into, issues, whether it's, health or, whatever the situation may be. Are there alternatives as far as something in addition to cereal that maybe could be available for a child to pick? So I understand the peanut butter and jelly and so forth, but are there other options that are available? So when those parents have that situation, because they're always going to come up, right? So, your car breaks down and you don't get home until midnight and you got 2 other kids and stuff. Is there something that that child can have other than cereal?
I can check with the food service program, but.
There seems to be, there's no reason, my question, and I'm not saying that should be normal, but like, I think there's always going to be those types of situations where, and maybe the child doesn't want to have cereal, maybe they don't like cereal. And so you don't want them to go and not have lunch, because that's the only thing that you're providing to them. But there has to be other things that can be
I
available.
can check with
The food service program?
We have data.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
I said, but then that goes back to, again, where the parent didn't order for the child, we're trying to make sure that the parent is the one making the decision
I
for the
understand,
child,
but
because.
from a parent's perspective, you're always going to have a situation where maybe you can't order for that child for the next day. You have, there's,
apples.
sickness, and there's.
If it was going to be like a meal.
I could give you a list, but.
I'll check with the food service program, because maybe there's some kind of fruit meal that qualifies as a
Something.
meal. Again, it has to qualify whatever the components make up a meal, so it has to have, I don't even know what the percentages are, because it's different for each grade level. Like elementary is one thing, and then middle school, high school, like a different percentage, so depending upon what would qualify as that meal, then I'd have to talk to the food service program.
So the cereal,
Putting all these parents out.
Right. Yeah, but it has to fit the certain requirements, so
I understand.
it could be this percentage of fruit and this percentage of, say, carbohydrates, whatever those percentages are, but it also has to be something that is not allergy prone. Again, because you're going back to that, because you don't know with people's allergies and everything, it has to be something that's pretty.
But the standard can't be that high if
Right.
cereal qualifies.
Right,
So I have to find out, I don't know all the laws, that's why I'd
Exactly.
rather talk to food service to see what they could also maybe bring up for a kid who doesn't order that day.
If you could please speak to the food service, because what I'm being told is that the children are actually putting in their pins. Now, I've had a child go through elementary school. It doesn't matter about me, but I know that they do enter their PIN numbers when they get lunch. That's how the money is taken off. So the child is entering their PIN number when they're given that cereal. So I do believe that they are being charged. I could be wrong. I'm not standing in the line and haven't seen it firsthand, but that's, it's not like they're giving out cereal for free. There was always in the past for the students who didn't have anything to eat, the wonderful lunch service people, the wonderful people that work in the lunchrooms of these schools. They love the students. They want to feed the students. They love to see them eat. They want to make them happy. They want to have a good product. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. There was before it was a little bag, and it was for the students who didn't have lunch. It was a yogurt lunch. It had a yogurt, it had a cheese stick, and it had some graham crackers in it that at least had some like protein and different things. I know about the nutritional thing, and I'm happy that you explained it for the public, because every meal has to have a certain amount of things, whether they eat it or not. It has to be on the plate, yada yada yada. I know that, and maybe some of the public does not know that, but it's good for them to know that. But yes, we have to do something about it. There has to be something, a better way to have a bowl of cereal that you peel off the top. It's a plastic white bowl on the bottom. You peel off the top, and it comes with milk, and then you put the milk, so I'm assuming the milk would be the protein source that they're saying. The child's already feeling terrible because there's so much fear driven in schools. It's like scare the kids, scare them, make them be good, make them order your food. Did you order your food? And a lot of times, this fear-driven stuff doesn't work, because some kids just don't get scared no matter what, and then some kids get scared if you just say boo. So the ones that get scared if you say boo, those are the ones that are definitely not going to eat a bite of anything that you give them. So it's very complicated. And coming from somebody who sometimes in my life has experienced food issues, it could make the person not eat, the student not eat, and the child's going to get lightheaded, not study as well, not be able to engage, be in a bad mood. There's a whole other things. We have to be able to have proper nutrition in our bodies and in our brains to be able to just exist and to think level-headed. So thank you for having the whole conversation about it, because it is a very big concern.
Yeah, I just want to jump in real quick. One last thing about the food real quick. We have the capacity to collect data. So it's possible for us to see how many kids are coming and asking for lunch on an average day that aren't paid. Why wouldn't we have the pad? Why wouldn't we send additional lunches over? Because we can figure out on average 4 kids a day show up and they don't have lunch. I mean, it's so easy to arrive at that number. Why are we not sending over 10 additional lunches, or the additional lunches that would be appropriate for the amount of kids that are not paying?
I can find out from Eric if they've been tracking to see how many per day.
It seems it seems pretty easy.
But here's the flip side of that. You could also have the same kids not ordering every single day and getting a meal, and if they're not free or reduced, it has to be paid for somehow.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying is, if we send 5 extra lunches, the cost of those 5 lunches is almost nothing, right? I would rather throw those 5 lunches away or give them to the deer at Constitution Park than have a kid go hungry. I just would. And I'm pretty sure everyone else on the board would. So I just want to make it really clear. This is very important to me. This is really important. There are so many working poor people in Fort Lee that don't qualify for any help. The hardest thing to be in this community is middle class, and I just want to make sure that we're all looking out for them. That's it. Thank you.
I'm going to talk to the food service about an alternate lunch. I'll also see how many kids are not ordering per day to kind of get that data back for you. Also, I'll find out if they're able to order up to maybe 7 or 8 a.m., to kind of get for the parents who don't do it the night before, to make sure that perhaps they can order up to in the morning. And then also with the, I said the letter will be forthcoming about them hopefully being able to prepay with the check, but again, it's got to clear the bank, because I do have every single month bounce checks. So I just want to make sure that the money, clears before we make it available in their account. But I will follow up with all of those.
If I could just add one more thing to that. If a parent has pre-ordered lunch, say a week in advance or a month in advance, and their child is out for a week, they're absent, does the parent lose the money for the prepaid lunch?
From what I understand, no, but I can double check that again with Eric, because that was a question, like if the kid's gonna be out. I think as long as they contact the food service program and say my kid's out sick, then as long as they don't take the meal, then I do not believe that they get charged for it.
Don't forget to ask about if they're getting charged for the cereal. You didn't put that.
Right,
on your
I'll
thing.
check that out
Yes.
too, to find out if they're getting charged for the kids who, yeah, I'll find that out.
Any other questions? We have a motion to open the floor to the public.
Motion.
Motion Morel, second. Colback. All in favor? Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, we will first hear from members of the public physically located here in the cafetorium. Then we will take questions and comments from those participating remotely. Participants are limited to 3 minutes in which to make their statement. Additional time may be granted at discretion of the board. If warranted, a response will be given after 3 minutes. For remote public participants, please select the raise hand button. District Technology Coordinator, Mr. Ruggiero, will recognize each member in order of the raised hands by lowering the hand. Please unmute your microphone and state your name and home address for the record and begin your comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Okay, you're up. Please don't forget your name.
No, Mike Osso, 230 Warren Avenue, Fort Lee. The town. How's that better? Mike Osso, 230 Warren Avenue, Fort Lee. First thing I want to say, first it was Saban and then Belichick, now we lost Welty and Picard. So to the two legends of Fort Lee, God bless you. Joe's probably going to be making up a Italian feast every night of the week. Two, going to this food thing, I've seen where email blasts around 9 p.m., email blasts as a reminder might help them say, oh God, I gotta, 9, 10 p.m. or something like that. Shooting that to the parents saying, oh, I gotta order. I have the intermediate school, so I got to pay Central and it's fine. Sometimes I'm stupid, I forget to pay, but it is what it is. But other than that, I think you should shoot out a district-wide or elementary school-wide, 9 p.m., just for them to remember after coming home. You're probably hectic, baseball and all that stuff, basketball. Just something like that, just a quick reminder. Okay, can I do this, please? Okay. Got a question on procedure, so maybe you can help me all out. Here's the scenario. First grader wants to transition and informs his teacher and principal that he or she doesn't want their parents to know. What is the district procedure regarding this nature? Is there a procedure?
Yeah, can you just ask all your questions and then
Okay.
I'll back?
Well, it's parts. Is there a procedure or not? Do we just take the child's word for it and do what the child says?
So he has more questions, basically.
Yeah, I know, you have more questions, but it's gonna, first of all, it's gonna take all the 3 minutes.
Well, I would kindly respect if I can get a couple of extra minutes out of it, because you gave away a bunch of them last time, so this is serious stuff.
I understand your position.
Okay, so I'll do
But
this
we're
one.
trying not to engage in.
Okay, no problem.
So just ask all.
So if there is a procedure, what is it? Okay, if there is no procedure, but you're gonna take the child's word or the student's word and honor their word, what is the district's due process to evaluate that the parents are actually dangerous or not?
What was the last part? Are actually what?
Are they dangerous or not? What's the district's procedure to find out their due process? Just because a child says they don't want their parents to know, doesn't necessarily mean that their parents are actually dangerous. Because the federal, in policy 9240, right? We all know about 9240. Parents need to know. So if we're going to withhold information, is there due process that says the parents are not capable of handling this? Because you got to do that. Of course, you're saying that the parents are automatically guilty.
Generally speaking, you're obviously very familiar with the policy regarding the disclosure requirements or lack thereof from the district pursuant to policy and state law. The second part of your question about due process, I would submit that's more of a legislative question. It's not something that's within the jurisdiction of the Board of Education to convene a hearing to decide whether the parents are or not a danger to their students.
It's the law.
Again, the district is following the law. So that's why I stated that your question perhaps would be better posed in Trenton or to your state legislators versus your local.
No.
But again, it's not a back and forth, sir. I was trying to answer your question.
But understand something. It is the law of parental rights and the Constitution that the parents have the fundamental rights to know. Without, it's due process. Does the school district do due process on the parents? Yes or no? Or are they just gonna take the word of a child, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, to say, don't tell my parents that everybody's okay?
So again, all I'm saying is the district is following the policy as promulgated through Strauss-Esme Association, Strauss-Esme and Associates, excuse me, based upon interpretation of the state law that was enacted now several years ago.
But it's also now in violation of 9240.
I got nothing.
So
Our attorney answered your question, or tried to answer your question, but that's.
is there a procedure?
So again, sir, I attempted to answer your question.
No, you didn't answer the question. Is there a procedure?
But
Yes or
sir,
no?
as we indicated, as the board president indicated, public comment is just that, public comment. You have 3 minutes to ask your questions, make your statements. It's not a back and forth. I don't have the policy that you're now cross-referencing in front of me. At the direction of the board president, I'll be happy to review it and advise the board accordingly. To the extent that we can respond to you, we will, but this is not the appropriate time or forum for that. Not trying to be dismissive or disrespectful of you, just not the forum or the time to do that now.
Okay.
Your time is up, and I would submit that we can move
No,
on.
I'm getting additional words. Everybody else got informed.
I have the policies here. I'll look at them at the direction of the board.
One
and I will
contradicts
respond
each
to
other,
it
Counselor.
and I will double check them to make sure. But again, there's a policy that you're asking about regarding disclosure of information, which is the law. If policies conflict, we can review and update them and make sure they're both compliant with the law. That's all. You could be referring to a different policy or a different set of circumstances that may or may not require or afford a hearing in that set of circumstances. I don't know right now.
So for the record, the school district will honor the students' wishes.
That's the law.
So it's 9240. Have a good night. Think about it. You guys gotta get yourselves in a lot of
Mr.
trouble.
Ruggiero, is there anyone?
Yes. Hey, Kesha, you've been promoted to panelist. Please unmute your microphone and feel free to share your video. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Hey, Kesha. Please unmute your microphone. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. As far as I wanted to echo Mr. Knight and Miss Tanya Bayer, we should not be fighting for our kids. Every child should have food for free, fresh, tasty, and organic. I am all 100,000% that no child should be hungry. And I am all I work in healthcare, and every plate should have at least 4 portions: protein, carbohydrates, the fiber, and the appropriate fat, as we could call it, the good fat in there. So we gotta do what we gotta do. Please make that happen. If their parents don't have money, or they forgot to pay online, or their check didn't clear up, do what you gotta do, please. The other thing is, I had sent a huge email on January 24th to 38 people, including Mr. Robert Kravitz. It was in regards to many issues. I needed an answer because it has been for a long, long time that I've been asking. Even I managed to find funds for that place behind the middle school and the intermediate school to be recuperated. And I don't know, where was the issue stuck? I need a crystallized answer. Was it stuck at the mayor's office? He didn't approve it. At the traffic division, they didn't approve that happening. Was it stuck where? That we couldn't get that old piece done because the woods are falling. They're so decayed. It is a danger for everyone that walks there. Either it's a pedestrian, either is a student in intermediate or anyone else or middle school that walks by there. Also at school number 1, we had a stop sign. Lord, it's falling down. I don't know, it's rusty and nasty. I sent pictures, what's going on? Why nobody's answering? And also we need the director of the grounds to be participating in these meetings that we do. So he has to hear that he has to get those grounds inspected daily and he has to fix them. Now, I have a question. I can't get my daughter's grade reports. I don't know why. So, my ex-husband has full custody, temporary, and I can't get her grade reports. I have been asking her teachers. I've been asking her principal. I need to see her grade reports because they are going to go to the appellate courts and they are going to go at the lower court in Bergen County. I have to see her reports. Now, putting us in 3 minutes talk, it's anti-human. It's a violation of human rights. So 20 minutes would do it. For 3 minutes, we're not gonna agree with that. The other thing is for Michael also, Mr. Michael also, please take those conversations with an attorney. You can find free attorneys.
You should not be addressing anyone from the public who already spoke.
Okay, no, I was just helping another parent because I know that, yeah.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
You are very welcome. Also, if you find, if you ever get an invitation to go to a propaganda trip in Israel, please say no to it because it's all about taking our tax money.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Your time is up. Dr. Kravitz will address your question if he has an answer for you.
Jason, yes. So, thank you for your email that was sent. I know it was addressed specifically to the representatives of the United States Congress, as well as about 44 other people. So I don't know if the other 43 people have chimed in, but some of the issues that you raised in your email are not applicable to the school. The ones that are applicable to the school, I will be responding to. Thank you.
There are no more raised hands.
Motion to close the floor.
We have a motion from Ms.
Second.
Kovac, a second from Ms. Curry to close the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Abstentions? Okay. May I have a motion to approve items 1B through 4B?
Before we get to that motion, could I'd like to make
hold
a
on.
motion to amend the private session minutes to add a reference to, resolution 8P from our last meeting and a reference to the, participation of the director
If
of
I can
human
make,
resources.
Ms. Colback, could we, since it was their closed session minutes and they're confidential and to the need for confidentiality no longer exists, I think it's fair to just simply say as discussed in closed session, that amendment be made. But we don't want to say what the amendment is publicly, because that would violate confidentiality.
I make a motion to amend the private session minutes, as we discussed in tonight's private session. Got it?
Okay, so that's on 1B.
What is it?
1B, we're amending the private session minutes from last meeting to include what Ms. Colback discussed earlier in private session. And then also 3B, we are adding Ms. Morel's name to the county meeting for tomorrow night. Okay, so may I have a motion to approve items 1B through 4B with 1B and 3B as amended?
Motion.
Motion Colback, second Morel. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Byers-Kane?
Yes.
Ms. Colback? Yes. Mrs. Curry? Yes.
However, I abstained from my name on 3B.
Same with me. Abstain as to my name on 3B. Mr. Knight,
Yes.
Mrs. Coatang,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes, and I abstain on my name on 3B.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes, and I abstain from my own name on 3B. May I have a motion to approve items 1B and G through 2B and G?
Motion.
Motion
Second.
Morel, second Colbath, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers Kang,
Yes.
Ms. Colbath,
Yes.
Mrs. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight,
Yes.
Mrs. Coatang,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve items 1 CUR through 5 CUR?
Motion. Second.
Motion Morel, second Byers Kang, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers Kang,
Yes.
Ms. Colbath,
Yes.
Mrs. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight,
Yes, sorry.
Mrs. Coatang,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes, but I abstain from 2 CUR. May I have a motion to approve items 1F through 9F?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Curry, second Morel, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers Kang,
Yes.
Ms. Colbath,
Yes.
Mrs. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight,
Yes.
Mrs. Coatang,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes, but I abstain on my name on 1F.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. I have a motion to approve items 1P through 18P.
Motion. Second.
Motion Morel, second Byers Kang, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers Kang,
Yes.
Ms. Colbath,
Yes.
Mrs. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight,
Yes, wishing Rachel Ventrella all the best.
Mrs. Coatang,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. Okay, moving on. Is there any old business? Any new business? Okay, may I have a motion to?
I just want to say something kind of related. I went to Lester's opening of his law firm last week, and it was definitely a class act, like he's done in the past for us, and I met a lot of his employees. They mostly, a good amount of them, I guess, followed you from your previous office. Everyone was very happy to be there and work for him. They spoke very highly of him, and his son did a nice little speech as well for his dad.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Colbath and second Morel, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, good night.